I've never really been a birthday person. It's not that I hate getting older or anything like that. I just don't like the spotlight. My friends know this. But last year, they decided to ignore it anyway. Brian, Marcus, and Kevin set up a quiet dinner for me at a small place outside Lancaster, Pennsylvania. A cozy family-owned restaurant called Maple Row Grill. Nothing fancy, just tucked into the side of a tree-lined road. They promised it wouldn't be anything big, just the four of us, some food, and no singing waiters with sparklers. And I gave in. Dinner was surprisingly nice. We laughed more than I expected, talked about dumb high school memories, argued over who owed who gas money from 2 years ago, and shared a chocolate pie that Kevin said tasted like a breakup, but somehow in a good way. I remember thinking maybe this year won't be so bad after all. But if we hadn't taken that road, if the traffic hadn't been so bad, we wouldn't have seen what we saw that night, and I wouldn't still be sitting here today, wondering what would have happened if we'd been just a little slower. It was around 10 p.m. when we left the restaurant. The warm air had that stillness that makes you notice your own breath. The main road heading back toward the city was packed with traffic. There'd been an accident or something. Flashing lights up ahead, police waving people into one lane. We sat there in the car for a few minutes, engine running, music playing low. Then Marcus said, "Screw this. There's a back road through the woods. We'll cut around the mess and be home before midnight." I should have said no. I had a weird feeling, the kind that sits quietly in the back of your throat. But I didn't say anything. So we turned off onto a side road called Hollow Creek Drive, a stretch of narrow blacktop that cuts through wooded farmland and old abandoned mills. No streetlights, no traffic, just trees and shadows. Marcus was driving, Kevin was in the front, Brian and I were in the back. And for a while, everything was calm. We joked about the place looking like a perfect spot for a horror movie. Even started tossing around fake titles like The Last Birthday or Cake and Carnage. But 10 minutes in, the joking stopped. We heard something, a loud pop. Then another. And another. The first one sounded like a firecracker, but the second hit the car, hard, right on the hood. It made a sharp, metal clang that echoed into silence. Marcus yelled, "What the hell was that?" And then the third shot came and we all ducked. Glass cracked somewhere, maybe a mirror. We didn't know where the shots were coming from, but they were fast, one after the other. Not random, not sloppy, precise. Fired from somewhere between the trees on the right side. We couldn't see anything, just black shapes and tree trunks blurring past. Marcus slammed the gas. The car jolted forward so fast I slammed into the door and nearly dropped my phone. We all crouched low in our seats, trying to make ourselves smaller, yelling over each other, over the sound of tires screaming against gravel. The shots kept coming. One hit the trunk, another hit the back windshield, which spiderwebbed instantly but didn't fully break. We didn't stop to check. Didn't stop to think. The road was twisting, narrow and uneven, and Marcus drove like he was in a nightmare, jerking the wheel left and right, trying not to crash while also trying not to die. There were no other cars, no houses, no help, just those trees, those shadows, and whoever was out there watching, aiming, waiting. At some point, the shots stopped. We didn't realize it at first because the adrenaline was so loud inside us, we could barely hear our own voices. Then Kevin whispered, "I think they stopped." Nobody said anything for a few seconds. We kept moving, too fast for the road, too slow for the fear. Then we saw it, a faded sign pointing toward Route 30. Civilization, streetlights, traffic. We turned without even thinking, tires screeching. And just like that, we were back on a main road, surrounded by cars and headlights and people who had no idea what we'd just driven through. We didn't talk on the ride home. Not really. Brian was shaking. Kevin kept twisting around in his seat to check the back window. Marcus just stared ahead, knuckles white around the steering wheel. I didn't say a word. Not until I got home and looked at the dent on the hood where the first bullet hit. It was small, clean, too clean, like whoever fired it knew what they were doing. I couldn't sleep that night. I lay in bed with the lights on, listening for sounds that weren't there. Every crack of a branch outside, every gust of wind brushing the window, made my heart race again. We never called the police. Not because we didn't care, but because what would we say? We didn't see anyone, didn't know how many there were, didn't know why. We had no plates, no faces, no names. Just a few bullet marks and a story that sounded insane the moment you tried to explain it out loud. But we all know it happened, and I think about it every single year. Every time June 27th rolls around. Not the dinner, not the cake, not the laughter with friends, but the sound of a gunshot slamming into metal, the rush of trees flying past the windows, the cold certainty that someone had aimed at us and meant to hurt us, or worse. I still wonder what they wanted. Were they trying to rob us? Kill us? Was it random? Or did we interrupt something we weren't supposed to see? Sometimes I go on Google Maps and follow that road again, tracing the path we took. Hollow Creek Drive is still there. Still narrow, still dark. No camera footage, no reports, nothing ever showed up in the news. That part haunts me the most, because it means whoever it was, they got away with it. And they might still be there, still watching that same road, waiting for someone else to make the same mistake. We haven't talked about it much since. Sometimes in our group chat, someone will post a message like, "Not taking Hollow Creek this year," or "Happy birthday. Hope we don't die again." And we all laugh, kind of, but the fear's still there, underneath the words. It's not a joke to any of us. Not really. We got lucky. I know that. If that first shot had been 2 inches higher, if Marcus had taken that curve a second slower, if we'd gotten stuck in a ditch or clipped a tree, we wouldn't be here now, and no one would have known what happened to us. Just another mystery buried in the woods of Pennsylvania. I don't celebrate my birthday anymore. My friends don't push it, and I avoid back roads, especially the ones that cut through places where no one's watching. Because the truth is, someone might be, and next time the bullet might not miss. Some birthdays you remember because of the people, some you remember because of the gifts, and some you remember because they leave behind a question you can never answer. It was June 27th, 2012, my 19th birthday, and I still can't forget the smell of cake frosting and sun-warmed cotton from the laundry drying on the line. I can't forget how Mom sang the birthday song while decorating my favorite vanilla sponge. And I can't forget how quiet the house felt without Caleb, my older brother. Caleb's an Army Staff Sergeant stationed in Fort Hood, Texas. But every year, no matter what, he'd drive or fly down to Flagstaff just to be with me on my birthday, even during active duty rotations. He found a way. This year, he said he couldn't. He called the night before. His voice clipped, uncomfortable, like he was reading from a script he didn't believe in. "I'm sorry, Em. We've got training exercises. I can't get away this time." I said it was okay. Tried to mean it. Tried not to cry once the call ended. But I missed him. A lot. That morning, I sat by the front window, staring out at the quiet street. Our neighborhood's the kind where dogs bark more than people talk. Small, sleepy, safe. And then, around 11 a.m., a black car rolled up to our driveway. It wasn't marked, didn't have plates, just a long, dark sedan that looked too clean for this dusty Arizona road. A man stepped out, wearing a gray hoodie and jeans. ball cap pulled low, didn't knock, didn't look around. He set something on our porch, got back in, drove off like nothing happened. I opened the door slowly, and there it was, a small white envelope, taped to a key fob, and next to it, a typed note on a folded sheet of paper. Love you, my sweetheart. I couldn't come this time. What happened? But your gift has arrived for you. Your brother. I froze. It sounded like Caleb. Almost. But the tone felt off. Too polished. Too deliberate. And that's when I saw the car. Sitting at the edge of the driveway. A black Dodge Challenger. Brand new. No dust. No fingerprints. It looked like something out of a movie. My breath caught. And for a second, I felt pure excitement. Maybe he had lied. Maybe he had come to surprise me. I ran inside, told my mom. She raised an eyebrow, confused, but smiled anyway, said, "That boy's always been dramatic." So I waited, pacing, heart racing. When Caleb walked through the door around 6 p.m., wearing his army camo and that dorky plastic birthday tiara he made me wear every year, I threw my arms around him and said, "You didn't have to go that big." He looked at me, confused. "Go big with what?" "The car," I laughed. "You're insane." "But I love it." "Thank you." He tilted his head, then turned and looked out the window at the Challenger parked outside. His face changed. That's when I knew something was wrong. "I didn't give you a car, Em." His voice was flat. No hesitation. I laughed again, thinking maybe this was part of the surprise. But the look in his eyes, that wasn't a joke. He picked up the envelope, read it twice, then read it out loud to Mom. "I swear to God," he said, "I didn't send this." We stood there in silence. Mom's hand resting on her chest like she'd just run up a flight of stairs. Caleb's brow furrowed deeper than I'd seen in years. That night, we didn't light candles, didn't slice the cake. We sat around the kitchen table, as if the car parked in the driveway was some wild animal we were too afraid to approach. The next morning, Caleb took it to the Flagstaff police station. Officer Malone handled it. He knew our family, had seen us around town for years. He ran the plates, tried to track the VIN, searched dealership logs. Nothing came up. There was no owner, no registration, no record of sale or transfer. It was clean, too clean. Malone said in all his years, he'd never seen something like it. A ghost car, that's what he called it. That afternoon, we sat in the living room, trying to figure it out, and that's when a name floated back to me, like smoke slipping through a crack in the door. Daniel Hart. He had been in my freshman year economics class at Coconino Community College. Quiet. We're all black. Spoke only when spoken to. He liked me. I knew that. He asked me out a few times. Slipped notes into my books. I told him no. Politely at first, then more firmly. He didn't take it well. Started waiting outside classes. Once followed me to my car. Eventually, I blocked him on everything. Filed a report. Switched sections. He stopped showing up. That was 2 years ago. I hadn't thought about him in forever. But now, the thought made my stomach twist. I searched his name online. Facebook. Old college forums. Nothing recent. Then I found it. An article. From June 28, 2011. Daniel Hart, 21. Died in a car accident just outside of Flagstaff. Single vehicle collision. Black Dodge Challenger. The same make. Same model. My hands started shaking. I showed Caleb. He didn't say anything for a while. Just stared at the article. Then at me. "You think he?" I didn't know what to think. I hadn't heard from him in years. No messages. No signs. And now, a gift. A letter. A car identical to the one he crashed in. Was it guilt? Some twisted obsession that lived beyond him? Or was someone else trying to scare me? We told the police. They took the car for deeper investigation. Held it in their impound lot. A week later, it disappeared. Gone. No break-in. No footage. No explanation. We didn't talk about it again. Even Caleb stopped bringing it up. But sometimes, I catch him looking at me like he's still wondering. And truthfully, so am I, because that car, that letter, that single moment, it never came again. No more packages, no more notes, but the question stayed, burning at the back of my mind. If Caleb didn't send it, and Daniel was already gone, then who the hell gave me that car? We were just a bunch of high school kids trying to make one last memory before senior year swallowed us whole. The kind of memory you can hold on to when life starts speeding up. It was Tyler's 17th birthday. He didn't want some cake at Chuck E. Cheese or a family dinner with his little cousins. No, he wanted something different, something epic. So when his cousin Logan told him about a cheap rental farmhouse near Harrison, Arkansas, deep in the woods of the Ozark Mountains, no neighbors for miles, no cell service, and barely a working road to get there, Tyler said yes without thinking. There were 6 of us that weekend. Tyler, his girlfriend Brooklyn, my best friend Jordan, our friend Haley, the quiet one Noah, and me Ryan. We packed sleeping bags, energy drinks, Bluetooth speakers. Thought we'd spend the weekend goofing off, grilling, and telling ghost stories like idiots around a bonfire. The farmhouse was old, and I don't mean old like creaky wooden floor old. I mean Civil War era. Stone chimney, rotting shutters, and a long dirt path leading to it that had probably last seen a car in 1982. But we didn't care. At first, it felt like we'd found our own private world. A place where no one could bother us. That first night, we played music loud, roasted marshmallows, tried not to burn down the porch. Jordan even carved Class of 2022 into the railing with his pocket knife while Tyler did an awful dance with a flashlight taped to his head. The real weirdness didn't begin until the next morning. We found the barn. It was behind the tree line, almost hidden. Sunlight barely touched it, like even the forest didn't want to get too close. It looked like it had collapsed once, then been half-heartedly rebuilt by someone who never finished the job. Inside, it smelled like wet wood and iron. There were old crates, broken tools, dust dancing in the sunbeams like ghosts trying to take shape. And then we saw it. A trunk, half buried under a moldy tarp in the back corner. We dragged it out, thinking maybe it had antique stuff in it. We were idiots. When we opened the lid, none of us said a word for a long time. Inside were weapons, dozens of them, some rusted, some clean, some wrapped in cloth with black marker labels on each one. Knives, hooks, scalpels, all lined up like museum pieces. Every cloth had a name written on it. First names only, like Sarah, James, Ricky. Tyler reached for one, a long curved blade, but the second he touched it, he jerked back like it stung him, swore it pulsed in his hand. Brooklyn said she felt like the air got thicker the moment we opened the box, like the barn was holding its breath. We didn't take anything. We didn't speak. We just left the barn and tried to pretend it didn't happen. But we all felt it, that shift. Even Haley, usually the one cracking jokes every 5 minutes, was dead silent the rest of the day. That night, everything got worse. The power cut out around 11. We lit candles and laughed about how old school it felt. But the laughter died when we started hearing footsteps upstairs. We hadn't gone up there. The floorboards were rotted. We didn't trust them to hold us. But now, it sounded like several someones were walking back and forth above our heads. Slow, deliberate, pacing. Noah stood frozen near the wall. Said he heard breathing right behind him, but there was no one there. I wish we had run then, but we stayed, like fools, telling ourselves it was just an old house making noise. At midnight, we made a decision. We were leaving. Didn't care how dark it was. Didn't care about the rental agreement or the gas money. We packed in silence, each of us too scared to admit how bad it felt. Like something was pressing on our chests, making it hard to breathe. And here's the thing, we didn't tell anyone. We didn't explain it to our parents or Tyler's cousin. We just said we got spooked, saw a bear, wanted to come home early. But the truth is, after coming back from that place, we were never the same again.